Very good evening. You're watching Big Bang with me, Shruti. Well, the BBMP claimed that it had planted 10 lakh saplings across 198 wards in Bengaluru in the last 5 years. BBMP has made this wild claim saying that it had planted 10 lakh saplings all across the city in response to a public interest litigation filed by the High Court by environment support groups and others. The claims are being verified by several interested activists and citizens. Well, I'm joined in by one of the members of Hasiru Usiru organization. Well, Vinay.
Yes, hi.
Firstly, tell us, how are you verifying BBMP's claims that it has planted 10 lakh saplings in 5 years?
See, there are two ways in which we are verifying. One is there are several volunteers who across the city have been going through the roads, taking the BBMP data with them, and individually seeing whether the number of saplings which BBMP claims are planted are really there on the roads. The other thing is that the Center for Ecological Sciences and Indian Institute of Science and the Karnataka State Pollution Control Board have come out with a report on Bangalore's trees very recently. And that report, incidentally, documents the number of trees which are present in each ward. So we're also taking the ISA report, seeing the number of trees which they mentioned in each ward and comparing it with what BBMP has said. And the other thing is, of course, we are physically getting into the street and verifying.
Okay, so now as part of developing the city, one has to compromise a little on greenery. So how to strike a balance on development and the green belt, saving the green belt of Bengaluru?
I think one thing which we have to state very clearly is that BBMP has severely compromised Bangalore's greenery, because even when they cut trees, whether it is for road widening or flyovers, they said that we plant 2, we plant 10. But the claims of BBMP that they've planted 10 lakh and that around 6 lakh have survived seem to be completely false based on our records. For example, in ward number 138, Chelwadi Parya, we've seen that the ISA report says there are only 934 trees in that ward, but BBMP claims that they planted more than 3,500 saplings just in the last 4 years. So if they planted more than 3,000, how come the total number of trees, including the saplings, is only 934? It really raises a question mark on what BBMP is doing. The other issue is, of course, that BBMP completely is closed to any alternatives. Seshadri Road was widened and hundreds of rain trees were cut. Members of Hasiru Usiru demonstrated to the BBMP how that road could be widened without cutting any trees, and in fact cycle lanes could be developed on that road. In spite of having with them a plan which will save the trees and also widen the road, they refuse to acknowledge that an alternate plan can exist.
Well,
so I think that,
yeah, go on.
Yeah, I think that BBMP is just intent on making sure that the Bangalore's trees are cleared of roads. Bangalore's roads are cleared of trees and that they're widened only to help big cars move around. I still remember the earlier Chief Minister of Karnataka, Mr. Yediyurappa, saying that trees belong in the forest and not in the city's roads. When this is the mentality of the administration, really one has to think about whether Bangalore's greenery is going to be preserved.
Well, Vinay, also tell us, is there any other authority, any other organization apart from the BBMP that is authorized to plant saplings?
Well, on the roads of the city, only BBMP is authorized to plant saplings, and we think that this has to change. BBMP needs to allow citizens to plant saplings and to take care of saplings on the roads. Because what is happening, Shruti, today is that the number of asthma cases in the city are increasing. The amount of pollution is increasing, leading to several ailments in the city, and this is because trees are being cut. But what is most damaging and what is of utmost concern is that when BBMP widens roads, like in Hosur Road, they're widening it in such a way that they widen the road and then they make a concrete footpath in a way that even if you want to widen the road tomorrow, you cannot. Even if you want to plant a tree tomorrow, you cannot plant because they've just concretized the whole place.
Now, Vinay, also tell us, now that these saplings are planted on roadside, so is there any particular type of sapling that needs to be planted to ensure survival?
Well, it's not one is, BBMP needs to ensure that saplings are planted in the monsoon, because, saplings need rains to come, and it's not just artificial watering, but they need rains to survive. But, what happened last year was that BBMP's planting budget was approved after the monsoon. As a result, they did no planting last year. So, you see, this is the kind of attitude that BBMP has. And it's not the type of sapling, but it's the type of care that you provide for the sapling and the timing. And sadly, BBMP has been completely lacking on both aspects.
Now, Vinay, you also told us about a plan where you can widen the road without cutting the trees. So, can you enlighten us upon that plan? What is that plan?
Sure. For example, Seshadri Road was widened around 3-4 years ago, and huge rain trees were cut on both sides to widen the road. But what we said was, on the side of the rain tree, there was some space which could actually be used to develop a cycle lane to encourage non-motorized traffic, so that some people could actually switch over to cycles. And this was done by an architect. An architect and an urban planner who also is a teacher of urban planning. He prepared this plan and we showed it to BBMP on the spot, but they declined it. The other thing is, of course, Shruti, that we've seen in several countries, like for example in Los Angeles in the US, even if you have 16-lane roads, when you keep widening roads, the number of cars only keep increasing, and there's no end to that solution. So the idea is to develop public transport, but on the other hand, the government encourages cars and they discourage public transport. As you reported on TV9 and News9 today, BMTC's, for example, increased its fares by 15%, right? Its third hike in like 2 years, which is making more and more people taking two-wheelers, and they were reducing the number of people using public transport, which further encourages traffic jams in the city.
Okay, Vinay, also tell us, now that you have filed a PIL, what is your future course of action going to be?
The PIL filed by Environment Support Group and others is coming up for hearing again tomorrow, Friday, first thing in the morning in the Court of the Chief Justice. We're going to wait to see what the court is going to decide on it. But Hasiru Usiru Environment Support Group and others, all of us concerned citizens, we are absolutely on a mission to encourage people to switch out to public transport, to non-motorized transport, and to do whatever we can, and we should, to save the trees of Bangalore. Because it's not just a question of greenery or beauty, it's a question of public health. Without the trees, people are suffering increasingly from, lung ailments and asthma. The pedestrians, especially the poor who are forced to walk on the roads because of the bus fare hike, they need the shade of the trees, and without the shade of the trees, it's really difficult to walk on these roads. So in the interest of public health and the interest of, the city being a better place to live, we are going to see everything we can do to save Bangalore streets. We're going to do. We also want to push BBMP to actually plant saplings on the road, saplings which will survive, saplings which we together with BBMP, all of us together can really help take care of those saplings.
Absolutely, Vinay. Thank you so much for giving us all that information. Well, that was Vinay, a member of Hasiru Usiru organization, enlightening us upon how they will go about making Bengaluru greener. And they're also verifying BBMP's claims that whether they have actually planted 10 lakh saplings in the past 5 years. And moving on, we have some big news coming in right now. BMTC has hiked rates by 15%, and this hike will come to effect from midnight. The price hike has occurred due to increase in diesel prices. Well, this is the big news that we're tracking at this point in time. The BMTC has hiked their prices by 15%. The bus fares have gone up by 15%. The hike will be effective from midnight. And the prices have been hiked due to an increase in diesel prices. Well, come midnight, traveling in BMTC buses will burn a larger hole in your pocket. You will have to pay 15% more, and the reason being a hike in diesel prices. This hike in price will come into effect by midnight. For the second straight year, the corporation has incurred a loss. The authority says it will have no money to pay its staff if fare is not increased right now. For over a decade, the Bangalore Metropolitan Transport Corporation enjoyed the reputation of being the only state-run road transport corporation in the black. That run came to an end in the financial year 2012 to 2013 when the corporation declared a loss. The poor run only worsened this year. It has come to such a pass that BMTC officials say fares will have to be increased if BMTC has to continue operations. Sources in the corporation, which operates 6,778 buses in the city and has a customer base of over 49 lakh, claims that for financial year 2013 to 2014, BMTC has incurred a loss of more than rupees 140 crore. However, the final audit will be completed in a week's time. While operational costs have increased, BMTC has not managed to earn adequate traffic revenue. It spends rupees 42 per kilometer to operate an ordinary bus, but it earns only 37 rupees, a loss of 5 rupees per kilometer. The corporation's Volvo fleet are close to break-even point. It spends 63 per kilometer to operate its air-conditioned buses and earns only 62 rupees. Officials say that the cost of student bus passes has only not been increased for the last 5 years and has also contributed to losses. Because of persistent losses, the corporation is finding it difficult to induct new buses into its fleet. Moving on, this is one of the strangest of cases where a woman files a missing persons complaint of her husband in the police station only to be accused of his murder a month later.
The woman you see here is 35-year-old Usha Rani. About a month ago, her husband Muni Raju had allegedly gone missing, following which she registered a complaint with the Micro Layout Police on the 21st of March. She later went ahead and filed a habeas corpus petition with the High Court, alleging inaction on part of the police. The cops were then directed to intensify the investigations. What followed is not what Usha Rani expected. The police turned up at her doorstep with an arrest warrant.
23/3/2014ರಂದು ಉಷಾ ರಾಣಿ ಮುನಿರಾಜು ಅಂತ ಇವರು ಒಂದು ಮಿಸ್ಸಿಂಗ್ ಕಂಪ್ಲೇಂಟ್ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ರು. ಆದರೆ ಅದಲ್ಲದೆ ಹೈಕೋರ್ಟ್ನಲ್ಲಿ ಹಬಿಯಾಸ್ ಕಾರ್ಪಸ್ ಪೆಟಿಷನ್ ಕೂಡ ಹಾಕಿದ್ರು. ತನ್ನ ಗಂಡ ಕಾಣೆ ಆಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅವರಿಗೆ ಪೊಲೀಸ್ನವರು ಹಾಜರು ಮಾಡಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆದೇಶ ಕೊಡಿ ಅಂತ. ಆದರೆ ಆ ನಂತರ ಗೊತ್ತಾದ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಅವರೇ ಈ ಒಂದು ಗಂಡನ ಕೊಲೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಶಾಮೀಲಾಗಿದ್ರು.
It was revealed that Usha Rani herself had her husband Muni Raju murdered with the help of two people, Mahesh and Suresh. The unsuspecting husband was sedated by his wife. This proved to be the biggest mistake of his life, as he was suffocated to death as soon as he lost consciousness. Muni Raju's body was later burnt in an abandoned site in Hoskote to avoid detection.
ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ 21ನೇ ತಾರೀಕು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆ ಕೊಡಿಸಿ ಮಜ್ಜಿಗೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಟ್ಯಾಬ್ಲೆಟ್ ಹಾಕಿ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಪ್ರಜ್ಞೆ ತಪ್ಪಿ ಕೂಡಲೇ ಅವನಿಗೆ ನಿದ್ದೆ ಬಂದ ಕೂಡಲೇ ಅವನಿಗೆ ಇವರು ಎಲ್ಲ ಸೇರಿ ಈ ದಿಂಬೆಯಿಂದ ಥ್ರಾಟಲ್ ಮಾಡಿದರು, ಅಂದರೆ ಸಫೋಕೇಟ್ ಮಾಡಿ ಸ್ಮಾದರ್ ಮಾಡಿದರು. ಅವನು ಸತ್ತಾದಮೇಲೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ಸುರೇಶ್ ಮತ್ತು ಮಹೇಶ್ ಆಮೇಲೆ ಇವರೆಲ್ಲ ಒಂದು ಬೇರೆ ಕಡೆ ಹೊಸಕೋಟೆ ನೀಲಗಿರಿ ತೋಪದಲ್ಲಿ ತೊಗೊಂಡೋಗಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪೆಟ್ರೋಲ್ ಸುರಿದು ಅದು ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಬಾಡಿಯನ್ನು ಸುಟ್ಟು ಹಾಕಿದರು.
Usha Rani has been arrested and taken into custody along with her two accomplices Mahesh and Suresh. She would have managed to get away with it if it wasn't for the habeas corpus petition that she filed with the High Court. Looks like the very act Usha Rani intended to exploit to prove her innocence has now landed her behind bars. Moreover, the High Court judge has disapproved of the misuse of habeas corpus and fined Usha Rani 1 lakh rupees. Manjunath, News 9, Bengaluru.